Okay, Logan, this is kind of what it will look like when it's all said and done. You just shot me a text. This is kind of the idea of what you're shooting for. Kenny will take care of most of that stuff, and then Mark's rig is here. So I'm gonna dive you into to Scotty's rig first, just because you'll take the longest with it, just to get it deployed. So I'm gonna walk up here, up the stairs. Okay, so we've got an X8 keyboard here, 88 keys, Roland, a X6, which is the same model, just a smaller version, and it's got it's not weighted keys. The keys are not weighted on this one. And then we have a B3 organ with a Leslie tucked away back here on the floor, and that's pretty much the rig for Scotty. And it's pretty easy to deploy. I'm gonna walk around to the other side here so you can see this thing. It's really easy to deploy. Everything on the floor is spiked, so every one of the legs that you see are all spiked, including the X stand, which I've walked Kenny through about how this thing works. The X stand, you don't have to twist any knobs or anything. You just collapse it and open it. It won't open any more than that, so you just fold it up and unfold it, and it will just deploy the same every day. The sub is also spiked. Just make sure that the tape side is up, and it will set right there for him. That way when he's sitting on this stool, he can just reach back, because you'll have, well, there's a notebook here now, but there will be waters and a towel there for him. Don't worry about the microphone. Audio will take care of that every day. All you need to worry about is the rig. Before I keep moving, I want to make a quick little note about Scotty's notes here. These travel in the binder over here, which will travel in the guitar vault that I'll show you later. And then just make sure that this little guy makes it every day too. I normally just set it on the keyboard and then store it in the keyboard case. It's normally fine. And then the loom. The loom for this whole piece is one giant loom. It's really easy to deploy. Basically, it starts right here with the keyboard, and then runs down the leg here. Oh gosh. So basically, it starts down there where the two keys are plugged in all the way down at the end down there. This is part of the loom, and this runs down the leg of the organ. Twist, give it a little twist down the organ. Let me hop down to the floor. Gosh. I'll show you the rest of this. So it comes down the leg, right? And then the connection for the organ. Oh, good. Lighting wanted to go to something lame. There's a power and a 6-pin connector here. I just run this underneath the leg of the organ, underneath, like the whole bottom here, just goes underneath. And then I route it around the corner towards the other keyboard. So I run it underneath the organ here, and then it kind of splits at this point where the X stand is, because you have 2 1/4 inches and a power going up to the X6. The power is obviously here, and then the cabling here is marked L and R, and they just go into 1 and 2. So the first 2 little jacks there. Sustain is marked with sustain, so it goes into the 1. I'm going to get into foot pedals in just a second, but this is the loom here. So the loom, you know, that branches off, but back down at the bottom here at the split, everything connects here, one big giant loom, and runs all the way back down there, and it drops down off to the tail end of the stage. I'll walk around and I'll show you that part. Look at Andrew, hello. So back down into the underworld here. So this is where the loom drops off the stage. and down into the cable land mess, because audio is very messy, people. And so am I. The two XLRs for the X6 and the two XLRs for the X8 are going to go into this DI that's right here, okay? The top DI is for the X6, and you will want to go into instrument, and then, or input, I guess, rather, for the radial. And then the bottom DI, these DIs are actually taped together, so it's one piece. The bottom DI is for the X8, which is the larger, heavier weighted keyboard, and they're marked left and right, and you'll plug it into the instrument input, not the, I don't know what the other one says, not the amp instrument. The left side for this particular piece has got black tape on it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah. So the left cable will have black tape on it. And that'll ring true for the top of that as well. Power also drops in. We have a quad box here and a quad box there. You'll just kind of have to plug those in. I think it's 3 plug-ins. It's one for the X8, one for the X6, and one for the organ. So you'll just kind of have to find a plug-in there. And that's that. And then you'll have one other cable coming out of the loom, which is, I can't really do this, which is this cable here, this one. And it will run all the way around to the Leslie, which is back over here. The Leslie connection is the 6-pin that you plugged into the organ earlier, and it will just go here. I normally just tuck the excess right underneath the tray of this Leslie. I don't know how familiar you are with Leslie's, but if you have any questions about the Leslie, just give me a call. If it's not doing this, if it's spinning fast, that's fine. I'm going to walk you through this organ, actually. I'm just decided that's going to be easy. But yes, make sure you have that connection. That's all of your connections for Scotty's World. And then I'll kind of show you how to power everything up and get it up and running here. Basically, this Leslie, this big wooden box, sits right at the edge of the riser. It's not quite touching the riser. It's transported in a tray. I just have them spin it and put it on top of the tray, so the tray doesn't go anywhere. That 6-pin connector carries power and data to the Leslie. There's not a plug-in for the Leslie. And you control that by powering this guy up, which is just a little button. You'll prime there, the red button. You'll hold it down for 25 seconds. And then as you're holding the button down, you'll flip the switch. So it will look a little something like this. Cut that off. Get off. It will look something like this. You'll hold the button down. So 1, 2, and you'll hold it for 25 seconds. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm already primed up. But as you're holding it, you'll flip it, and then you'll let the button go. The motors for the Leslie will start spinning. And you'll want to make sure before you power it up that thumb switch is switched to coral. There's a coral option and a tremolo option. When you power it up in coral. Those 2 motors that you saw earlier will be spinning slowly, or should be. If they're not, give them some time. Sometimes it takes those motors a second to get going. But this thing just controls the speed of those motors. So if you're in coral, they're going slow. If you flip it to tremolo, they're going fast. If you were to ever power it up and they were going fast, but this was switched to coral, you would just simply hit this guy right here. This is another motor control. You just hit it until the motors are both going slowly. This plugs in right underneath here. Yeah. Cool? Alright. Another thing about making this thing, getting it to make noise is kind of tricky. You kind of have to know your way around. Just pull all of the drawbars out like they are now. And for sound check, just hit the first black button. It'll hold itself in like that. And then you'll be able to make noise. If you don't want to make any noise, hit the very last black key and it will release any button that you have pressed down, because these are just tone controls, so you just hold them down. And that's kind of it for the organ. The X6 just hit power on the X6 and on the X8, and those will be good to go. That's kind of it for the keys rig. I can't really think of anything else I haven't touched on. I've kind of walked Kenny through storage for the organ. It comes in a big giant tray. Just when you pull it out for the first time, make note of everything that's in it, because that's what rides in it. There's like 3 skirts that go in there that ride. They deploy. Kenny and them can probably deploy, but one deploys here on the side, one deploys on the other side, and the other one we're using as a dampener for the Leslie. So we're just kind of putting it on here, just to kind of dampen this Leslie a little bit because we run it loud. And that's it for the organ rig. Yeah, I think we're in a happy place there. So cool. That was way longer than what I thought it was going to be. Great. Awesome. Cool. All right, on to Mark.